everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of Meg and the Crochet Podcast, a podcast where I work and fumble my way through size-inclusive crochet patterns and share the journey with you. Some of the projects are going to be brand new starts, and some of them are going to be me reworking old projects to hopefully help you see that everyone can crochet, and crochet is made for everybody. If that sounds like something that you are into, then I hope that you will get cozy, grab a project to work on, a nice cup of coffee or something to drink, and let's get started. I can't believe that I'm sitting here with you doing my very first podcast episode. This has been something that I've been wanting to do for the last little bit and have maybe been just a little bit too scared to try, but I'm happy that we're all here together now. So a little bit about myself, if you're curious. I have been crocheting for the last 10 years, and I currently live in Lloydminster, Alberta, Canada. And I never thought that crochet garments would be something that would be accessible for my body as a plus size person. And now out there is a huge, well, I guess not huge, but it's a growing library of size-inclusive patterns that are beautiful and can be worked up in any body size. So that is what I really want to start showcasing and have available for people to come and see. So let's jump into the first couple of projects that I have that I'm currently working on, and then I'll show you a couple of new projects that I'm going to be starting, and we can go from there. All right, so first up is a project that has been sitting in my library now for probably the last 6 years, and I just haven't picked it up, but I wanted to work on something that was, I want to say like an easy project to work on, something with very simple stitches, but that would bring about a beautiful, beautiful piece to wear. So the first project I'm going to show you is the Bare Gold Tank from More Thunder. So I don't know if my camera is going to focus. So you might just have to bear with the blurriness for a little bit while I get that figured out. But it is a crochet tank top with a little bit of a tie detail here in the center. So the beautiful thing about this pattern is that it is worked with worsted weight yarn, which is really easy to find anywhere, I guess, that sells yarn, I guess, like most commonly Michael's for me here in Canada. But it's also one that is worked based on your body size. So there aren't specific measurements. You basically go to what fits your body the best and build the project off of that. So it started at the bottom or at the waistband and then worked up towards the straps. So for this project, I went diving into the hoard of yarn that I've got in my craft room and found a yarn that I think would be really pretty for the holiday season, something that was very soft and not something that I commonly work with. So for this project, I actually picked up, excuse me while I grab it from over here, I actually grabbed the velvet yarn. I think it's like Bernat velvet from my stash. If you've been crocheting for a while, a couple of years ago, the crochet scrunchies, like our hair elastics, like hair scrunchies, was really big, and velvet was commonly used for that. And I picked up a couple of balls of the velvet yarn myself, but the crocheted scrunchies wasn't really something that I was interested in working with long term. So it's been sitting in my crochet bin of to-use yarn now for a while, and I figured this kind of, with the holiday season coming around, this might be perfect for Christmas or New Year's. So this is what I've got worked up so far. So you can kind of see, whoa, there we go. You can kind of see the tie in the front. That's a little bit being masked by the yarn. There we go. The crochet, or the tied front. And then now I'm currently working on the body of the tank top. So this tank top is designed to be cropped, but you can really make it any size that you want to as per the instructions in the pattern. Wherever you feel the most comfortable is kind of where you have it land. So I am going to make the cropped version, and then it's just worked in around with joining in the back until you get to where you want to start your straps. So like I said, what I love about this project is that you just use your own base measurements to go off of. And work the pattern until you kind of adjust for straps. So it's a half double crochet, which happens to be my favorite stitch. And it's worked in worsted weight yarn, like I said before. I'm pretty sure that with this pattern though, if you wanted to work with a different weight, that you most definitely could adjust your chains and rows based on that yarn size. But since this was worsted weight, I kind of went with this one. My intention with this one is to wear it potentially for Christmas or even for New Year's. And I was thinking with like a pair of wide leg jeans or a pair of wide leg black pants would work with this one. So yeah, so right now I'm just kind of working on getting towards working on the body. I don't really have that many rows left to go before I'm going to start splitting off for the straps. And the straps parts of it, I'm kind of curious to see how those are going to come together and if I'll need to make any adjustments based on my bust size, because I do have a rather large bust size. And so we'll see what I have to do there to kind of make sure that it's not more cleavagey than I would like it to be. So far, a really good start for the Marigold Tank by More Thunder. What I really do like about this project, aside from the fact that you just work off your measurements, is that it is a really easy repeat, just going round and round and round until the midsection gets to where you want to, and then we'll split off for the straps. I plan on hopefully splitting for the straps soon, and you'll be able to check out more of my progress on my Instagram page, which I'll leave in the description bar below, kind of where you can find me on Instagram, since that's pretty much the only place I'm active in terms of socials is there. And I'll also leave links to any of the patterns or any of the yarns that I talk about today in this podcast episode down in the description bar. So if you want to work on them yourself, or if you're interested in checking them out, everything will be down below in that description bar. I would also like to say that all of the yarn and the patterns that I am working with in this episode have been purchased by me. I've bought everything. I haven't been sponsored by anybody, as much as that would kind of be cool. Everything is all paid for by me. And if that changes, then I will absolutely let you know otherwise. So project 1 out of the way. The second project and the second garment that I'm working on is by Tony from TL Yarn Crafts. And it is a cardigan. This one is in sizes available from extra small all the way up to 5XL and has about 4 to 12 inches of positive ease, which means it's meant to be 4 to 12 inches bigger than what your body measurements are, depending on how you want to see like the fit on your own personal body. So I am making the extra large to extra large size for myself. I'm usually a size anywhere from 16 to 20 in pants, and usually around a 1X to 2X in tops, depending on where I'm purchasing from. So I'm going to be making the extra large to 2 extra large pattern. This pattern is worked up in 2 pieces with a little bit of seaming in the back, and then a ribbing to kind of finish it all in buttons. So it is a really simple project to work on, and is using worsted weight yarn. So in her sample, Tony uses the Lion Brand Color Theory yarn. I am using Lion Brand's Heartland yarn, which I was able to get to match her gauge upside down very similarly. So this is the yarn that I'm using, and it's in the Colorway Grand Canyon. I don't really have anything in my closet that I've crocheted for cardigans that is a neutral color, so that's kind of why I chose this colorway, because I just think it's going to be really nice to be as a universal piece for everything that I wear. And I'm a person who likes to dress in layers, especially since hitting 40. For some reason, like, you hit 40 and then the switch just gets flipped, and now you can't decide whether or not you're hot or freezing, or 1 minute you're freezing and then the next minute you're sweltering, and it's like, thank you, perimenopause. But this is so far the Isa Mesh cardigan. So this is the project, or so far the progress that I've made on my Isa Mesh cardigan. So I will show you a picture that I've printed off from the pattern. I print off all of my pattern pages because it's just easy to make notes, and then that way I can write down what my initial gauge swatch was, which your gauge swatch is just the number of stitches and the number of rows that are worked within a 4x4 inch square, using the hook size that the pattern designer worked with. So it just helps to see whether or not, based on how you crochet, whether you're too tight or really loose, whether or not the garment will fit you the way that they intended based on the hook size they recommend. If for any reason the hook size they recommend and you don't mesh, that's kind of funny, but that it just doesn't work out, then you might have to go up or down in hook size to be able to get the gauge to ensure that the project is going to fit you the way that you want to. I never used to gauge swatch and then had projects come out way bigger or way smaller than they need to. So now I always try to make sure, for garments specifically, to gauge swatch. So just a little bit of information if you're new to crocheting and you don't know what a gauge swatch is. So I'll show you quickly here if I can find it, because organization. So this is the Isa mesh cardigan. So you can kind of see that the stitches that we're going to be working are going to create like this nice open and airy layerable piece. And it's going to be something, again, that's going to be so universal in a closet. You can wear it with jeans, you can wear it with shorts, you can probably wear it over a dress. More likely for me, it'll be like t-shirt, jeans, and then this guy, or a tank top and jeans, and then this guy. So this is the progress that I've made so far. So you start with your sleeve, and then we're going to work up to the back panel piece. And then you work two pieces. So you're going to make two of this guy, and then they'll be seamed together in the back. And then we'll add ribbing and buttons after. So this is a lovely project to work on. If you're looking for something that is very beginner friendly and is something that is easy to work on while you're listening to an audiobook or reading or watching TV, I highly recommend this project. It's double crochet stitches, so as long as you know how to double crochet, it should be easy to work up. And once this is blocked too as well, these mesh pieces will open up. But it is beautiful, and the fact that it has very minimal seaming towards the end, with just like a seam down the back panel connecting these two pieces together, that is awesome. I mean, I don't mind a little bit of sewing in crochet patterns. Like if I have to seam a couple of things together, that's fine. But the fact that this has basically like one seam and then ribbing to finish it off is just, it's just beautiful. So like I said, this is the progress that I've made so far, and it, based on my gauge and the measurements for the size, I mean, this yarn is going to give a little bit, and it's going to stretch and be a little bit more drapey, so I'll get a little bit more length out of it, but for the most part it's going to hit me exactly where I want it to, which is awesome, and I can't wait to continue working on it and finish more up. This has been one of the projects that I've been working on the most, even though you can't really tell by how far along I am. But it is such a simple project to pack with me and take with me to kids' activities, or sitting in the car waiting for them to get out of school for pickup. So again, that's the Isa Mesh Cardi by TL Yarn Crafts. I will, like I said, post it in the description box. I know that this is a free pattern that's available on her blog, as well as I believe she has a crochet tutorial on this pattern on YouTube, and you can also find it on her website and Ravelry. So but the next project I'm working on is actually another Tony project. It is from her book, the Tunisian Crochet Handbook, and I've been working on this one for a while, so I would consider this one of my more longer term projects, something that I have just beside my chair to pick up if I need a palette cleanser between projects, or something to work on while we're sitting and watching a movie or a TV show. So this next project is the Hudson Tassel Throw from Tony's handbook. And if I show it all the way, you're gonna lose me in the frame. But so this is what it looks like, and I'm obsessed. because like this, like the pattern produces this beautiful honeycomb texture. And I think the yarn that I'm using is just helping to showcase that so much. So it's just beautiful. Like, it is a Tunisian crochet project. So if you are new to crochet and you don't know what Tunisian crochet is, it's essentially a style of crochet that uses a hook and a cord, similar to the cord that you would see with circular knitting needles. And you manipulate the stitches in such a way that you produce a fabric that almost looks like knit, or is very like knit fabric, but using crochet techniques. So this pattern works up in a combination of Tunisian knit stitch and Tunisian purl stitch, and is just, it's so fun. I have a blue, like dark blue couches and chair, and I thought that this colorway, which is showing up more like a burnt orange, but it's more of like a deeper rose gold color, I think is just gonna really pop with my chair. So it's going to be my blanket for me, because my kids tend to steal every single blanket I ever have or own for myself. So this one will be just for me. And I'm using Patons inspired yarn in the color Burgundy for this one. This is also an acrylic yarn similar to the Heartland, and it's a bulky weight yarn. So this one is actually 72 or 75% acrylic, sorry, and 25% wool. So it's really soft, it's really warm, it's super cozy to work on, and I'm loving it. Tunisian crochet is quickly becoming a crochet style that I absolutely love. I've done a few crochet projects now. Not surprisingly, they're all Tony's patterns, because Tony is amazing with Tunisian crochet and she's kind of introduced me to everything. So you can find a bunch of Tunisian crochet tutorials on her YouTube channel as well, which I'll link below. And since starting a few projects, I'm now obsessed, and I tend to have one Tunisian crochet project on the go all the time, because it's just nice to switch between the two different techniques, like regular crochet and the Tunisian crochet. And this project I've been working on since January of last year, which is definitely a longer project than I intended for it. I intended to have this be done a lot faster, but then you just pick up other stuff and work on other things, and this is the one that gets kind of tucked in the to be continued pile. So yeah, so there's that one. So that is all I've got for right now on current projects that I'm working on. So the next thing I'm going to show you is the 2 crochet projects that I'm just going to be starting here. And one of them is a garment, and then the other one is an accessory. And I live in Canada, so cold weather items are definitely important for me to have with how cold our temperatures get here. So the next thing that I'm going to be working on for myself is a crochet beanie. So let me just grab that stuff here. Now the pattern that I'm going to be working on is a pattern from Ravelry, and I'll see if I can bring it up here on my phone. So this pattern is called If Jessica Jones Hooked a Hat. Now I don't know, with the way that my lighting is, if you'll be able to see that. Can I show ya? Yeah, so it is a hat or a beanie pattern that is worked in the crochet linen stitch, which is single crochet stitches. It is supposed to be a fingering weight project, but I am using a DK weight yarn with a bit of mohair, so it's going to be more like a worsted weight project-ish. So I am going to have to adjust the starting chain number and the number of rows according to that, but I really love the colorway that I'm using, and I think that it with the mohair and the texture of the hat is just going to be beautiful together. So the yarn that I'm using is a hand-dyed yarn from my friend Allison with Allison Barnes yarn, and it is in her classic DK base, and the color is Don't Let Me Down, and it's this beautiful purple and variations of purple, like almost with a little bit of black in there. I don't know if you can see it clearly. Like the color that shows off in the camera, it just doesn't do it justice to what it looks like in person. But this is a 100% superwash merino. And here it is caked up. So you can kind of see a little bit more of the variation of color here. But it's just this like deep and rich and beautiful purple, and I absolutely adore it. Allison is such a talented dyer of hand-dyed yarn. The colors that she's able to bring out on the yarn are absolutely beautiful, and this deep rich purple is just, it's my favorite. Like, purple is my favorite color, and this moody color is, or this moody version of it is just my jam. So I'm using that in addition to her mohair. And that's in the same colorway. So both of these are the Don't Let Me Down colorway in the mohair and the DK, and I'm going to combine these two to bring a little bit of softness with the linen stitch beanie, and I just can't wait. I've been wanting to work with this mohair for a while, and seeing that pattern and just the way that it comes together, I thought these two would be absolutely perfect for it. So I haven't gauge swatched, or I haven't even started it, so that'll be the next thing that's on the go, and you can check my Instagram for progress on how this works up. I'm a little bit terrified because I've never worked with mohair before, so I know that this is going to be a challenge, and I tend to frog a lot or rip up back rows in my crochet because I'm a perfectionist, and when I mess up I have to fix it to do it right. So I'm going to try to lose some of that, I think, a little bit with this mohair, because I know that it can get caught and be a little bit difficult to work with, but I just thought it was too beautiful not to try. So this will be next up on my crochet hooks to complete, and I think I have enough yarn that once I'm finished the hat, I can do a matching cowl. I'm not sure if I'm gonna have enough of the mohair to be able to do the matching cowl, but I should definitely have enough of the base yarn to do a matching cowl. And then I think I have some very bulky deep purple that should match this to make a set of mittens, so then I'll be totally outfitted in purple gloriousness. So that's the next project that's going to be up on my crochet hook, like pretty much after I'm done recording here. So head to Instagram if you want to check the progress out on that bad boy. And then the next new project, but not the final new project, because who am I kidding? I've got enough stuff in my crochet library between Ravelry and others that I'm probably going to start like 8 more projects. So I'll have tons of stuff on the go. And if you're not sure what Ravelry is, it is a page that's kind of dedicated to fiber arts where designers will list their patterns for sale. You can find free patterns on there sometimes, and then patterns for sale from crochet and knit designers. So yeah, just in case you weren't aware. The last project that I'm going to share with you today that I'm going to be working on and starting very shortly is by Chelsea with Knitting Tipsy. It is another size inclusive design that has about 8 to 14 inches of positive ease built into it. And your bust measurements will range from 42 inches to 74 inches for the completed project. So it is a granny square style cardigan. And if you can believe it, even though I've been crocheting for the last, 10 years now, I haven't done a granny square. I've never ever completed a granny square. So this will be my first granny square type project, and I'm really excited about it. So it is the Sexagon cardigan, and it's really hard to see. I am so sorry, guys. I'm trying to show you these pictures, and it's really hard to see, but it is a cardigan that's worked up with granny square style stitches or granny stitches. And then it's like 2 hexagons that you seam together. And she recently shared this on her Instagram, but using a velvet yarn. And I fell in love with the texture. And while I'm not doing it in the velvet yarn, I found a DK weight yarn that I can't wait to make this in. It just really drew me into the versatility of this piece. So I'm very much the type of person, especially lately as I get older and how the hot flash thing happens, working with pieces that can be very universal through all seasons. And I mean, living in Canada, like 60% of our weather is cold. and that's probably underestimating a little bit. So I'm excited to have more pieces within my wardrobe that I can mix and match and layer, and this is one of them. So as I typically work with dark pieces like this one, and I haven't even talked about this one yet, so we'll talk about this stuff and then I'll talk about this. I typically wear more moody colors, like deep dark purples, jewel tones are kind of my thing. But for this cardigan, because of the light and airiness of it, I wanted to work with something, or I wanted to have a colorway that was a bit lighter and brighter. And a couple of, I think last year, I was able to crochet a sample for Allison with Allison Barnes yarn so that she'd have this beautiful shawl to showcase at any of her fiber shows. And with working with her, I was able to get some of the yarn from her for that, but then I ended up purchasing a good portion of it myself. So some of this is gifted, and then some of it is, like the rest of the skeins are purchased by me. But I found this beautiful colorway called Healing. And like I said, it's out of my typical wheelhouse in terms of colors because they're more brighter blues, some pastel-y pinks, and like they're just overall a brighter landscape of fabrics that landscape of colors, I should say, that I'm used to. But I thought for granny square style stitches, you would really get to showcase the variation of colors in the skein. Like the speckles will come out and the just different colors will come out. So this is what it looks like caked up. And it's just so beautiful. So while it's not over the top bright, it's still a lot brighter than what I typically work with for yarns for projects for myself. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you this because it is so small. I did work up a baby gauge swatch for this project. Oh, it's so blurry. I might have to post this on, will that help? Okay, so you can kind of see it. Like I'll try to stick it. Do I have a blank piece of paper? Yeah, let's try this. Okay. Thank goodness for printed patterns. Oh, and that's even not working that well. Yeah, okay. I will take a picture of it and edit it into this part of the video so that you guys can see. But here's a little baby gauge swatch. And you can already tell, even though not really clearly, like how the colorway is going to be showcased with these granny stitches and the nice variation that it's going to bring. So as promised, here is a look at the gauge swatch I did for the Sexy Gone Cardi by Knitting Tipsy. I think this is going to be something, like these colors are beautiful and they're still kind of jewel tone-ish. So I'm really excited to work this up and see how it comes together, and then be able to interchange that into my wardrobe as a nice layering piece. And I mean, it probably more than likely layer it over dresses and t-shirts and jeans, similar to the Isa cardigan, shorts and jeans, even though this is a merino wash, so it's not super warm weather friendly, but I think because it's DK weight and the airiness of the stitches, I think it's just going to be a really nice layering piece in my wardrobe, and I'm really excited to try these colors out. So again, all of my progress for these projects and everything going forward will be on my Instagram page, and I'll leave the link to that down below. And then as well as I plan to showcase them in future episodes of the podcast. So before we finish off with everything today, because it seems like this is kind of like a quick and dirty type of podcast, I should talk about what I'm wearing. And I can't believe I didn't talk about this in the beginning of the podcast, but of course the excitement of actually starting this thing after wanting to for so long, order just kind of goes out the window. So the last thing we should talk about today, and generally it should be the first, is the beautiful top that I am wearing. This is the Captiva crop from MurphyMadeCrochet. And it is a cropped based on figuring weight top. I'm using Montana crochet yarn for this one in the colorway. So this dark, or you can't even see where I'm pointing. So this base color is Aplen Glow. And then the purple stitch here is Clamity Jane, and it's in her figuring weight base. But this is a beautiful, beautiful crochet top designed by Murphy Made. It is one of the pieces that I tend to wear the most right now because, again, it is a very universal piece. I've worn it with skirts. I've worn it with jeans, I've worn it with shorts, and I just love how airy it is, and like the way that the colors work and the texture of this top is just absolutely beautiful. So this is one of my most worn pieces as of late, and I will link where you can find this pattern down below as well. So yeah, it's just perfect. I can probably just stand up and give you a little bit more of a look, but like, how beautiful is that? I just love it so much. Like the details with the different texture that they've got going on, the details from the sleeves, and just how it fits on my body is just, I love it so much. And even as my body fluctuates, as bodies do, this is one piece that I've been able to wear the most constantly through all those changes. So I will definitely leave a link down in the description bar for this one for you guys as well. So, well, I guess that's it. A quick and dirty episode, first episode of the podcast. I don't really know exactly what length I'm going to be able to keep these at, and things might change as I go along because I'm just learning how to do this, and I hope that you can bear with me as I kind of catch my footing and clean things up as I need to and just get more comfortable being in front of the camera. But I'm really glad that you were able to sit down and hang out with me for this first episode. If you're interested in seeing more of what I plan to do on this channel and with this podcast, then I really hope that you'll consider hitting subscribe. And if you liked this video, then please click that like button and that notification bell so that you can know what's going on and when the next video comes out. I would also love for you to leave me a comment down below just letting me know when you got started with crochet, what you're currently working on, and let's talk favorite hook sizes if you have one. So again, I am so grateful, so grateful that you were here to join me, and I can't wait to see you on the next episode. Take care, guys.